Okay, so step one is authentic communication. In this video, we'll cover how to communicate authentically. I put this video up front because you will be writing your script. Authentic communication starts with an authentic script or story. In this case, I'd like to show you a video of one of the best authentic celebrity communicators, Oprah Winfrey.
Definition for me. Vulnerability is?
Being willing to express the truth, no matter what. The truth of who you are, the essence at your core of what you're feeling in any given moment. It's being able to open up your soul and let it flow so that other people can see their soul in yours. I've lived with who do you think you are my whole life, and not from myself as much as what was reflected to me. Because who do you think you are? You're a little color girl, come from Mississippi. Who do you think you are? You're sitting up on national television. I used to fear hearing the term, who do you think you are? Or you must be pretty full of yourself. Now I work at being full. I want to be so full, I am overflowing. So when you see me coming, it ought to make you proud. To borrow a line from Maya Angelou's Phenomenal Woman. When you see me coming, it ought to make you proud. And what you see is a woman so full, I'm overflowing with enough to share with everybody else. I'm going to own the fullness without ego, without arrogance, but with an amazing sense of gratitude that I've been born at a time where I am female on the planet, and I have the great pleasure and freedom to fill myself up.
Amen.
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 Amen to that.
Oprah's video is a great example of how to communicate authentically. However, you'll have a story that's authentically you. So now I'd like to share a story with you about my authentic story, an authentic communication story that resonates with me, as an example for you. So you can create your own authentic video and begin your online presence journey. My authentic story is called the Mount Rinjani story. In 2018, two friends and myself decided to do the Mount Rinjani trek. It's a 3,700 meter volcano on the island of Lombok that is an hour's flight from Bali. We all gathered. One of my friends had already climbed Mount Agung, which is a 3,000 meter volcano in Bali. And my other friend, who's a marathon runner, he runs the ultra marathons. So we were very well versed in mountain climbing and being able to climb this volcano. But the story along the way shaped my future, and I'd like to share it with you. So we arrive at the airport, and my first friend, he says to me, I've just got off the phone to my doctor, and my doctor said, whatever you do, you cannot climb this mountain. You've got a condition that could cause you to have some blood clotting, and being in high altitude could actually cause you to get really sick, and being up on top of the mountain is not the place you want to be if this situation was to occur. So he pulled out. He said, I'm just going to stay here and in Lombok, and we'll wait, and I'll wait for you guys to return. So that left myself and another chap. So we headed off up the mountain with our Balinese guide and our two Sherpas. And one of the Sherpas had his two young sons, which were like 8 and 10, very young lads. But the two Sherpas and the sons were Buddhists. And our guide was a Balinese guy that lives in Lombok. So we take off on our trip. We have to sign the books to climb the mountain. So we sign out the books when we come back down. We head up the mountain for the first day. It's going to take us 3 days for a trek. We get halfway up to the first point, and the heavens opened up. It being not the rainy season, but however, we were halfway up this mountain climb, and the rain just poured on us. We were drenched right through to the core. Our shepherds were drenched, and we were all drenched, and we found ourselves all huddling under a little ballet that was built on a checkpoint on the way up to the top of the mountain. Anyway, we pushed on. We pushed on up to the top of the mountain, and when we reached the base camp, which is the camp before the summit, we found it was a whiteout. There was nothing to see. It was just pure cloud. No view, no amazing view or anything of the volcano or the trek that was to come. Just a whiteout. And we made a quick video saying, oh my God, we've got up to this far and we're drenched and we've worked really hard to get here, and it's an absolute whiteout. So that night we set up our camp and we went to bed, and I remember feeling very fatigued. It wasn't the actual fatigue part, it was more the mental strain that we've just been through a hard walk through torrential rain, and we were all wet and we hadn't completely dried out yet. So the call came at 1 o'clock in the morning for us to climb out of bed and go climb the rest of the 700 meters to the top of the summit, the peak. And my friend next to me, he said, look, I just can't go. I can't do it. And part of me decided, well, I could actually stay behind because I had every reason to stay behind. I wanted to just stay warm. I wanted to be comfortable. However, something else stirred in me, and I sat up like a vampire in a coffin and basically climbed out of bed and put whatever wet shoes I had on and my jacket, and I was off. And it was just myself and the Balinese guide. So we're trekking up the hill, and we got to a certain point, and I lay down on the track and I say, oh, I feel like a cup of tea. And the guide hasn't spoken to me all morning. And the first thing he says to me, he goes, most people fail here. And that was the wake-up call. I could feel that this was a point where I could turn back. I'm at the edge of my desire to climb this mountain at this point. However, something stirred again, and I stood up and I started walking again. It was probably another hour before he spoke to me again, and I was just walking along very slow. I had just little steps, one step in front of the other, one step in front of the other, just so slowly. And the guide comes up, the Balinese guide comes to me and he says, just go at your own pace. And I'm like, okay. So I'll keep going and keep going. And then the third time he spoke to me was when I was leaning over a rock and I'm breathing heavy. And he says to me, 5 minutes to summit. And those 3 sentences got me to the top. And as I walk through, there's on the top of this mountain, there's like a rocky cavern that you've got to you've got to walk through before you get to the actual peak part where you take your photo and celebrate your conquering this volcano. But as I came through this cavern, there was 3 Balinese priests all praying. Now, I don't know why they were there, but for me, they were a symbol of those 3 sentences that this Balinese guide had told me to get me to the top of the stairs, and there was a blessing. So that was my that is my authentic communication story. I just love it because it just meant so much to me, and it just resonates with the journey that I've been on in my life, and being able to, share amazing adventure stories that create, innate wisdom in people, to show that there's a different perspective to look at one thing. We could have been a story about not succeeding. It could have been, and that would have been okay. It could have been a story about, me being, stepping over bodies in the darkness to get to the top of the volcano. But however, it became a story of these 3 sentences that got me to the top, and the priests that were waiting for me just basically locked that in for me as I came through, and eventually got my photo taken at the top. So that's my authentic communication story. Now, what I want you to do is to take a minute and write down 3 stories that resonate with you, that would you believe, 3 stories that would resonate with you, that would create an authentic communication story that resonates with you. Now select only one of those stories and write a 2-minute script on that particular topic or adventure story. See if you can take that story full circle with meaning and purpose that resonates with you. Remember, you and your story are not for everyone. The ones that are looking for you will find you. Trust that. So I hope you enjoyed the first step of your micro degree. Stay watching for my next step, which is on trust.